The next way you can add gels to your photographs is by adding a gel to the fill light. This is probably one of my favorite ways to add gels to a scene because it allows me to still shape the light on my subject's face but infuse color into the shadows. I just think it's beautiful. So I want to show you a couple considerations when you are adding gels to your fill. Now remember, you already saw this in the beginning, that when you center the main light, you have minimal shadows. A centered main light means that the shadows are fundamentally just going to be underneath the chin and the nose, and as you move the light further and further and further off to the side, you create more and more shadows. As you do so, you'll see more and more of the gel. So let's do that as a quick reminder, and then I'm going to show you some other considerations when you're adding gels to your fill light. All right, so let's bring this back in. Okay. Add that blue, perfect. All right, so right now, this main light is mostly centered. Okay. First shot, perfect. Make sure it's all looking good. Okay, great. All right, Steven, so let's add more and more shadows, if you will. Move the light off to the side a little, perfect. A little more. So now the light will be in split light, hardly any light on the right-hand side of her face. So can you turn? Perfect. Now we're going to short light. So more shadows. Oh, I love that, beautiful. Steven, keep moving around for me. Right now it's short light, a little bit of loop. We go to short light Rembrandt. And now let's go all the way so that all you get is just this, yep, perfect, just that rim light on her face. Okay. So going back through these photographs, if you're unfamiliar with the terminology behind the lighting positions, you'll definitely want to look that up. Paramount is when that main light shadow is underneath the nose. Loop is when it moves more off to the side. Rembrandt is when that shadow meets. And split is when the light is half and half. If this is unfamiliar to you, you can search the terms and there's a million different things out there. When we go to short light, those same lighting positions apply. It's just more and more shadows. We already showed this in the past, that the further you move the light off to the side, the more the color gel shows up. However, there's a couple other considerations. Taking a look at this photo, one of the things that you will notice is that you get a very bright specular highlight on the side of the cheek there, right? It's very, very shiny. Why is that? Well, obviously it's because there's a light here, but it's also about the type of light, the modifier. The modifier I'm using here is a zoom reflector. A zoom reflector is a hard light source. One of the characteristics of a hard light source is more contrast. Highlights are brighter, shadows are darker. And so what that means is the highlights are going to be even shinier, which is what you see here in the shadows. So let me just, Steven, can you move the light back just a little bit? Let's go to turn back for me. Right there. Wait, right. Bring it back a little more. Right there. Perfect. All right, so we're going to go here. This is that short light Rembrandt. So you get that little triangle of light underneath the eye, right? And you get that really nice shine on her cheekbone. If you wanted the shine, you need to use a hard modifier. If you don't know about hard modifiers, it's going to be things like zoom reflectors, bare bulbs, grids, any light that is direct, it directly hits the subject, or it's a small modifier, that's going to give you that shiny, almost metallic look to that fill light. Another way that you can change and create more shadows is actually by the height of the light. The further you raise up that main light, the more shadows it creates underneath the nose and the jawline, and therefore, the more that the gels will show up there. This is going to be similar to the concept of clamshell lighting you may have heard of before, one light above and a second light source below. But in this case, the light source below is going to be a gel. How much of that color you see depends on how high that main light is. All right. Oh, can you lower it though? We're going to start low. Keep going, like low as you can. Let's start really, really, really low. Okay, let's see. All right, Steven, raise it up a little. Let's try right there, good. Okay, a little higher, and really high. Okay. So you can see in that progression of photographs, the higher up we raise that main light, the more that blue becomes prominent. This is my creative way of playing with clamshell light, and it creates a very mysterious result. If you want to change the way that the fill light looks, of course, you can change the color of the gel, you can change the position of the main light, but there's one other consideration, and that would be your modifier choice. If you choose a hard light source, like we have here, a zoom reflector, something small, something with direct light, what you get is you get more specularity to the fill light, to the shadows. So you get a brighter and more defined highlight on the cheek, for example, or more texture to the skin. But let's say that you want that fill light to still have color, but to be a little more subtle, a little bit more smooth, maybe to more evenly light a scene. Then you may want to go for a softer modifier, an umbrella, an octabox. So you do have to, of course, consider the position of your main light, the position of the fill light, and the modifier that you choose for your fill light.